Welcome back to Building a Nation. It is season 11. Today is episode 0, where we're going to have a rundown of the squad and the club in general. We've done a fair amount of business over the summer. We are also into the final Champions League qualifying games against Brøndby. Brøndby played Olympiacos in the previous round. I was dreading the fact that we could be playing Olympiacos again. Luckily, we're not. Let's go on to transfers. First up, players leaving the club. There have been 3 outs from the club. Christian Jasinski is the first one to leave. Didn't really get enough game time realistically. Probably should have played him more than I actually did. Only played 5 times. He's now moved over to Slovan Liberec. He has cost £500,000, potentially going to 675. So we've made a fair amount of profit on him. And now we move into the big numbers. Adam Cesar, 20 years old now, Czech central defender. He has finally left the club. He's wanted to leave for the last 2 seasons. He's now finally got his big money move over to Saudi Arabia. £5 million, potentially going up to £6 million with a 50% sell-on. I'm always making sure that I get the big sell-ons in there, because I have a feeling somebody like an Adam Cesar, maybe 3-4 years down the road, might get picked up by a PSG for like £20 million. We're going to get 10 of that. And he wasn't here long, was he? Dejan Ivkovic, the 20-year-old Serbian who we signed on a free transfer once he got released from Partizan. I say released, I assume he didn't sign a new contract with Partizan. He's moved over to Liverpool, straight into their first team as well. £15 million plus that massive 50% sell-on. He only played 20 league games. He played 34 games in all competitions, just 20 league games. He was very good for us last season, but when somebody comes in with £15 million and a 50% sell-on, you kind of can't really say no. Joining the club then, we have reinvested roughly about £1.2 million of that money. Rolando Williams, 24-year-old Jamaican and I think English right-back, signed from Chelsea. Because Rodney Khan has gone back, I basically took a look at the Chelsea squad and went, who have you got available? Williams was available for £125,000, and he's a perfectionist, and he's really bloody fast. So we brought him in. Probably not going to be our starting right back, but certainly going to be very helpful when we need some players to play in the league. We have also raided the Turkish under-21 squad. During the summer, I got a whole load of scout reports from players being released from Turkish sides. I don't know why I got them, but I did seem to get loads of them. I've signed 2 players, both of them strikers. Ender Ceylan is the first one up, 18 years of age, 14 finishing, 12 composure is pretty decent. He's very, very fast, 4-star potential on Ender. He will be in and around the first team, probably not getting a huge amount of games, ideally getting loaned out. And similarly is Ramazan Pelivan. He is signed formerly of Besiktas, only played once for the Turkish side. Again, another striker, 16 finishing, 14 composure. Arguably looks a little bit better as a more natural finisher. 4.5-star potential on Pelivan. Again, trying to loan him out. We've also brought ourselves a Peruvian international striker on a free transfer. Luis Mogolon has signed. Again, free transfer. Came up on my scout reports and I looked at him and went, yeah, he's pretty good, isn't he? He's got 4 caps, 1 goal for Peru. He looks very, very good. He's very angry, which is lovely in a striker from South America. It's definitely what you want from a South American striker, isn't it? I think Mogolon is probably not going to play as much as he arguably should, but I think there is certainly a future there. He's also got 15 free kicks. Maybe we get him taking free kicks. 2 more to go, and first up is Welsh international midfielder Ashton Brereton, signed from Liverpool for £1.5 million. I am not even joking. When I sold Ivkovic, I went, you know what, we need somebody new in the squad. And Brereton was sat in the Liverpool team transfer listed for £1.5 million. No, he wasn't. He was out of contract. That's what it was. We had to pay £1.5 million compensation. Look at him. Just look at 18 passing. 18 passing. Arguably, he is better than what we've just sold for £15 million to Liverpool. I love it. I absolutely love Ashton. He's back. Sergej Perkons has returned from his little foray into French football, where he played 66 times for the PSG 2 side, and then his contract expired. Ignore how much money he's getting paid, okay? We couldn't get him in for anything less than our maximum salary. £39,000 a week is what he's getting paid. He's probably not worth that, but he's Latvian. He's going to be getting games every single week, particularly as in January I accidentally sold Nikita Ruggins, which I didn't want to do. Sergej Perkons is back, and I can't be happier. So that is all of our transfer business. You can see, obviously, as we always do on the right-hand side, a whole load of loan deals. 2 sales as well, going to Spartak, Sam Williamson and Maris Protas. Then we can see Sidibe, Diamande, Lewis Wood, Sivas, Groataj, this man, Krollis, Pulis, Nilo, Servans, Alex Arthur, Ruben Rivera, Miguel Malo, Alemany, Bosk Hamilton, Romello Ewing and Salamanca Kafanda all going out on loan deals for the season. We need to get them some football. Looking at the squad then, we've got ourselves 3 goalkeepers this season, and this could be the season where Juris Melkimians drops down to our number 2 goalkeeper. He is still very, very good. 3-star current ability. He's now 26 years of age. He'll be 27 come the end of the season. He's actually a pretty decent, well-rounded goalkeeper in my opinion. But we have somebody who has returned to the club from his loan spell over in South Africa, who I think might be a bit better now. Mzwaki Luthuli spent 1 season at Kaizer Chiefs, conceded 18 goals and 20, which actually sounds quite a lot, doesn't it? I just think he's a slightly better goalkeeper. He's only 21 as well, still got plenty of years in the tank, 3.5-star current ability, so technically our coaches think that he's already better. I think Luthuli will be our number 1 goalkeeper for the season. We will still see Juris Melkimians in and around the first team every now and then because Luthuli's probably going to be going to the African Cup of Nations in January. Vladimir Grasnovs is also still at the club, formerly of Ventspils. He's not actually played for us really, as he's played twice, conceded once. He's a good backup option. On to the right-back position, Rolando Williams, as we've mentioned, is one of our 3, I guess, right-back options. Probably Rolando might be the 3rd one on the list, even though he is 3.5-star current ability. Number 2 on the list is going to be Keith O'Brien, 19 years old and 9 caps for the Republic of Ireland. That's pretty good, considering he's not that great at the moment, is he? There's definitely some potential there. Looking at his mental numbers, decisions, teamwork and work rate, all being in the greens, looks absolutely superb. He needs to get more game time. I kind of want to loan him out, but also he might be our number 1 right back if our next player plays as a centre-back. And that's Toussaint Yao. He's 18 years old. I mentioned him last season. And I'm training him up to be a central defender because I think at 6'5", he's probably better as a centre-back considering he's only got 7 crossing, 10 dribbling. He's very fast. He's very big. He's not particularly amazing in the air. Maybe we need to try and get him training on heading. But he is 6'5", with 15 jumping reach. 10 heading probably shouldn't be too much of a problem. But like I said, he could be our right back. He's played a few games at right back so far this season. Arguably, I want him to be a centre back. On to the left backs, and we've got a bit of a problem. German Cardozo is out for the season. He has broken his leg, he's out for 5 to 7 months. This is the 2nd time a left back has missed the majority of a season of football due to a pretty serious injury. Cardozo was our number 1 last season. He would have been our number 1 this season, but unfortunately, his broken leg has kind of scuppered those plans. Which means our number 1 left back for the season is probably going to be Wagner. He suffered a similar injury to Cardozo a couple of seasons ago, missed the entirety of the season. He's got himself a 2nd chance at the Skinnz Academy. I think he's good. There's something there. He's not that great, but he can do a job. And the final left back isn't really a left back, but he kind of is now because we've trained him there. It is Jaroslav Horak, 24 years of age now. He's getting on a bit. He's not very good defensively, but he is our more attacking option down that left-hand side. I might loan him out. I might sell him. I've basically kept him at the club because of the injury to Cardozo. In central defence, we are looking a little bit light, shall we say. We have ourselves 5 central defenders, and 2 of them aren't really central defenders, and one of them is my son. Sergejs Perkons is our number 1 centre-back for the season. We've already had a look at him. His partner will be Alex Nenebe, 23 years old Ivorian central defender, looking very, very good in my opinion. He's still, I think, got a bit more room to grow. Probably not going to get too much better than what he is, but for a 23-year-old, he certainly does a pretty good job for us. Toussaint Yao, obviously we've mentioned as a right-back, but also a centre-back. I think that's his life. That is his ultimate goal is to be a central defender, in my opinion, so that is where he is going to be basically being cover for. Ruud van den Aker is next up, and as you can see, he's not a centre-back, but he will be. He's 5'11", he's not the tallest. He's very good mentally and physically. That's kind of where all of his points go. Technically it is where he is struggling, but I want to make him into a very good central defender. I think he's got the ability. 11 tackling, he needs a bit of work on his heading, which is annoyingly going down at 9. He needs work on most of his technical attributes, but mentally and physically, and with his personality of perfectionist, I'm hoping he can convert himself to be a centre-back sooner rather than later. And finally, it's Craigie Pearce. Little Craigie Pearce, who's actually 6 foot. He's like 6 inches taller than me. I feel like I should have a word with his mother, because he might not be my child. Craig Pearce, who obviously scored a hat-trick in the FA Cup final, all from the penalty spot. He's still here. He's still knocking about the first team. He's finally got 1 gold star to his name. He's got 2-star potential. I was trying to loan him out. Nobody wants him because he's not very good, but he's still here. Into the middle of the pitch, we are a little bit overloaded, which is why we are starting on Guy Stefan Ballo. He is a central midfielder who could also play as a centre-back. Now, he's not the best centre-back, but I've decided, because we are running low on centre-backs, he's going to become the best centre-back. Looking at that, I think he's got all the right attributes to do a decent enough job as a ball-playing defender, so that is what we are going to do. And I guess now we move on to the actual central midfielders then. Sander Berge, still at the club, 32 years old, our record signing, and I'm honestly, I think it was a waste of money. I saw his media description, which was a world-class footballer, I think it was, or something along those lines, and I went, we need that in our team. He's still good. He is still very good at football, but I don't think he's worth £9 million or whatever we paid for him. Maybe Sander Berge can turn into a centre-back. I mean, this is a stupid thing to do, but maybe this is also what we can do, because, again, he can do the job, can't he? Our 2 main central midfielders for the season will be Maxims Baranovs, who has extended his loan deal from PSG for a further season. He did alright last season, 27 games, only 1 goal, but I think he did get a lot of assists, if I remember. 7 assists, 2 Man of the Match awards. He's already played once and got an assist so far this season. Maxims is here for another year. I want to try and bring him back to the club if I can. How long's his contract at PSG? 2 more years. Might not be able to get him just yet. He is going to be in the middle of the pitch with Ashton Brereton, who we mentioned earlier on in the episode. 23-year-old Welsh central midfielder, £1.5 million for a player of that quality. You can't turn that down. You really cannot turn that down. I do need to try and get myself another striker because a lot of my new signings want me to sign a new striker, and I haven't really done that yet. The third central midfielder is Ronald Ruiz, little Ronnie Ruiz, 5'6", central midfielder from Costa Rica, 2 caps to his name, 3-star current ability, 4.5-star potential. He's good. I actually really like Ronnie Ruiz. I think he scored a screamer as well in one of the episodes previously. He's going to be our 3rd choice central midfielder, arguably 4th behind Sander Berge, but Ronald Ruiz, he's one for the future who can actually do a job now. Moving on to the fringe players, and annoyingly the Latvian players, Maris Mikulov, 26 years old, he's still here. I want to loan him out. He's still got 3 years left on his contract. He wants to start more games. Just loan him out, somebody buy him, do something with him, because Maris Mikulov is too good to not be playing in regular football. He needs to play for somebody who isn't us. And the same with Sergej Kauner. He is 25 years of age now. He mentally and physically, he is spot on. Technically, he's not great, but he's got the numbers, arguably in the right places, tackling and passing and marking and first touch and stuff like that. They're all pretty good. He needs to be getting game time somewhere else. Nobody wants to take him off my hands for some reason. And finally, Slavoljub Poldica, the 23-year-old Serbian, spent last season on loan at Celje in Slovenia, I think. Poldica, I keep saying this about him, he looks good. He just never gets any better. So Poldica needs to go out on loan, needs to leave the club on a permanent deal, but for the moment he's still here. On to the wings now, and we've only got 5 wingers, because we've loaned out a couple and Leroy Sané retired. Jairo Gamboa is our number 1 left winger. Now, you might be looking at him going, who's this guy? We signed him a couple of years ago, sent him out on loan to Valmiera, then sent him out on loan to Saprissa. He is now finally back in the country, going to be getting himself a chance in the first team. Look at his physicals. 16 acceleration, 16 pace, 17 agility, 18 balance. If he can up his strength, nobody's getting him off the ball, ever. Mentally as well, very, very good mentally. 18 aggression's a little bit worrying for a left winger. Not sure I'm too keen on that. Technically, it's where it kind of lets him down, but I'm hoping he's got the Adama Traore issue, where he's just so fast, it doesn't matter how bad your technicals are, because your speed will just underpin absolutely everything. His deputy for the season will be Rashane Young, signed from Man City, made his breakthrough into the first team last season, played a few games. I think he might have played the Winter Cup final as well. Only 20 years old, English, signed from Man City. I think there's a future there. We just need to get him a bit more game time here and there. Similarly, actually, to Gamboa, he's got 14 acceleration, 16 pace, 17 agility and 16 balance. He's a bit of a unit as well, and arguably, he might be better technically. On the opposite side, it's Taihi. He's still at the club. He's going to probably revert himself more to a right winger for the season because obviously Lorenko's left. We've also lost a whole load of wingers in Alex Arthur and Seku's, what's his name, the new signing who we got in January, and then I've immediately loaned him out because I realised he's not good enough. Taihi is going to be our number one right winger for the season. He is Skinnz Academy through and through. Annoyingly, he's got a cap for the Ivory Coast, so he's not going to become Latvian anymore. His deputy is going to be Kristaps Stefan Hagens. I want to loan him out. Similarly to Kaula and Mikolov, he's too good to not be playing football, but he's not good enough to play for us regularly. Stefan Hagens is still here. He is going to be our number 2 right winger. We will see him occasionally, but probably not as much as he needs to get game time. We've also still got Sergejs Kapustins, but probably not for long. He is currently under bid from Riga, £700,000. Hopefully he's going to move over to Riga and play in the Europa Conference League group stages. We'll come to that in a minute. And finally, the strikers. We'll fly through 3 of them very quickly. Luis Mogolon, who we've already had a look at, the Peruvian international. I like the look of Luis. Pelivan, the Turkish under-21 international, probably won't be getting a lot of football this season, but he is still here at the club, ideally loaning him out. And Ceylan, similar situation, hopefully goes out on loan somewhere. Maybe to like events builds and scores a load of goals. And now for our actual strikers who will be getting a lot of game time. Sergej Lemkins is number 1. He's not great as a striker. This is the problem I have with Lemkins. He's very good, just not as a striker. He's arguably an attacking midfielder, or maybe even a central midfielder. Maybe that's what we should be doing with him and playing him as a DLP. We play it on defend, which he can't tackle. Maybe Lemkins just doesn't fit our system, but he is going to be number 1 striker for the season. One of his partner options will be Ivan Stipnikes, last season's top goal scorer. 24 years old, last season he scored a stupid amount of goals. In fact, the last 2 seasons, 26 goals apiece, 42 in all competitions that year, 38 in all competitions the year before. Stipnikes, I think, is one of the undervalued members of our team. Our coaches don't really think he's good enough. His contract was up at the end of this season, and they said, don't give him a new one, he's not good enough. And I thought, he's scored 52 league goals in 2 seasons. How is he not good enough? He's still only 24. Stipnikes is probably our number 3 striker, because Haroldo is starting to look very, very good and starting to score some goals. 21-year-old Brazilian striker, 16 finishing, balance and strength. No one's pushing him off the ball there. If everything went up by 2 points, which is an ask, but it's possible, his numbers will look amazing because all of a sudden those sort of 14s and 15s that he's got there will suddenly turn green, and there's quite a few of them. There's a lot of 13s and 12s. He's a very well-rounded player in my opinion. He's already played 4 games for us, 1 off the bench as well, scoring 7 goals. He is the top scorer for the team. I think he might be technically top scorer in the Champions League as well at the moment. And finally, Sebastian Comanelia, who I would love to get better at football. He hasn't improved at all. I don't know why our coaches think he's only 2-star, because in my opinion, I think he's better than that. With his 17 work rate, with his finishing of 15, composure of 14, he is a natural finisher. He is a natural striker in my opinion, but for some reason the coaches don't seem to see it. I kind of want to loan Comanelia out, get him some football playing elsewhere in Latvia, but I don't think anybody's going to want to take him. He will be getting a fair amount of football for us though this season. This could be his breakthrough year in Latvia. So that is our first team squad for the season, and I can't believe I'm training Sanderberg and Guy Stefan Ballo to be central defenders, but I think it might work out in the long run. If we go over to the dev centre and take a look at our reserve team, we've still got quite a few players in here who we haven't mentioned. Artas Bite spent a season out on loan last year at Riga. We've also got Lee Ding. Lee Ding has been leading the line down in the under-23 squad. If we look, last season, he scored 47 goals in 24 starts with 15 assists. The season before that, I think, is when he joined. So, yeah, Lee Ding loves a goal. He absolutely loves a goal. Arguably, he's on the fringes of the first team as well. So is Gudramanis, maybe? Although, somebody does want him. If it's a loan deal, Milan want him on a transfer. I feel like you might need to be in the first team, buddy. If Milan are interested, we should probably get in some use out of you. And also, in our under-18s, we do have a couple of players who I think will be of interest for the season. First of all, Alexander Spahars came through our youth intake last season. Not great now, will hopefully be great in the future. Artas Rasevskis, maybe. He's, again, not great now, hopefully will be great in the future. 2-star current, 4.5-star potential on Artas. And the one that I am pinning a lot of my hopes on is Vladimir's Krolis, 16-year-old striker from Latvia. Came through our youth intake last season, or season 9 technically. So he is going to be 17 very, very soon, in about 4 months' time. I want to loan him out, get him some football, because I think Krolis could be the next Oleg Skorks. In other news, if you missed it at the end of last episode, we have completed our move to the Skinnz Academy stadium in Jelgava, and annoyingly, we can't play our Champions League games there, or our Europa League games there, or anything like that. So, what I am going to do right now is ask them to expand it and see if they go for it. Some other things that might be of interest as well. Financially, the club is looking very, very healthy now. We've got 52 million in the bank. We've still got nearly 40 million transfer budget to spend. Wage budget, we've got loads and loads of wiggle room. So when I say that our players want ourselves to get a new striker, I think we might have to go big, you know. I think we might have to go for, not a world-class striker, obviously, but we need to go for somebody who is well-known and is going to cost around £15 million. And what I've done is I've asked my director of football, who isn't very good, to give me 3 options for an advanced forward. We're going to take a look. We're going to go age order first, so the oldest first. I mean, he looks good, doesn't he? He certainly looks good. He's a real man. Mayo leader. I'm not a fan. For that money, I don't think we get our money's worth. Tim Parsons is looking a bit more interesting, in my opinion. 25-year-old Swedish international striker. Relatively cheap. Let's get a scout report on you. And Enis Kabashi from Osijek in Croatia. He's good, isn't he? He's certainly good. I mean, look at those physicals. Pace of 18. Acceleration 15. Everything is very, very good. He can't header, but I feel like that's not necessary. I say he can't header. He can header. He's got 13 heading. He's just got 6 jumping reach. I think Kabashi could be the one. They do want £16.75 million for him because that is his minimum fee release, which we'll scout you. We'll scout you. In episode 1, you probably will find out which one of these players we are going to sign. If any of those players we are going to sign, I might find somebody completely different to bring in. Before we round up this episode, let's have a quick look at how our Champions League run has gone so far. Similar to last season, we won absolutely every game we've played. We beat Karabag 2-0 and 5-1. We beat Bate Borisov 2-0 and 2-0. We have also beaten Jelgava 4-0 at home in the league. Haroldo scoring all 4 goals there. Brøndby of Sweden will be our opponents in episode 1. I fancy my chances, but what's even better than us getting to the Champions League? Valmiera getting some coefficient points. Yeah, okay, they lost to FCSB, but they got some coefficient points, but they're not the only ones. Spartaks, even though they got knocked out, technically got us some coefficient points for a 0-0 draw against Kristiansund. And Riga are through to the final, or the penultimate Europa League 2 qualifying matches. FC Honka of Finland? It is Finland. Are their opponents. They've beaten Zalgiris, a team that we've played in the past. They beat them 3-0 and 3-1. They've beaten Odd from Norway as well, or is it Denmark? It's one of those two. It's Norway. They've beaten them as well. So coefficient-wise, Riga might have actually helped us massively as a nation. Last season, we ballsed it up. If Riga get into the Europa League 2 properly, pick up some wins as well, that's what we need them to do, then Latvia could be flying up the coefficient table. Anyway, that is going to do it for episode 0 of season 11. It's probably a long one, this one, because I waffled on about a whole load of stuff. But thank you very much for watching. If you did enjoy, do please remember to leave a like, hit the subscribe button if you're new to the channel, and I'll see you, hopefully, in episode 1, where we qualify for the Champions League again.